Long ago, many brave warriors tried. They searched for glory and gold. No one enter that road and return. I must warn you about the ancient path, beyond the hills where the shadows grow long.
Our elders used to say, some roads are meant to be left alone. For over 1,000 years, the people of Umudara obeyed that warning. No one dared to walk the forbidden road until a fearless young girl decided to uncover the truth. Welcome back to Storytime with Hazy. Kindly subscribe.
The rain had just stopped. A thick mist drifted through the ancient forest surrounding the quiet village of Umudara. The morning sun struggled to shine through the towering trees, but one place remained hidden in shadow. It was an old dirt road, overgrown with vines, cracked by time, silent, unnaturally silent. Not a single bird sang near it. Not a single animal crossed it. The villagers simply called it the road no one dared to walk. For generations, parents warned their children to stay away from it. Hunters refused to go near it. Even travelers who had never heard the stories could feel something strange whenever they approached the road. Without knowing why, they would turn around and leave. One evening, as the golden sun dipped below the hills, children gathered around the village square. They laughed and played while the older villagers prepared for the annual Moonlight Festival. An old storyteller named Papa Obi sat beneath the giant Iroko tree. The children rushed toward him. "Grandpa Obi," one little boy shouted, "tell us a scary story." The old man smiled gently, but his face became serious. "There is one story," he said quietly, "that is not meant to entertain." The laughter stopped. Every child leaned closer. Papa Obi pointed toward the dark forest. "Beyond those trees lies a road. The road has been there longer than this village. No one built it. No one knows where it ends. And anyone foolish enough to follow it is never seen again." A little girl shivered. Did monsters take them?
Papa Obi slowly shook his head. "I wish it were that simple." The children stared at him in silence. "My own brother walked that road 30 years ago. He promised to return before sunset. He never did." Another child whispered, "Did anyone go looking for them?" "We tried," Papa Obi replied. "But every search party came back before reaching the entrance. They all said the same thing. It felt like the road did not want them there." A cold breeze swept through the village square. The festival drums suddenly fell silent. Even the adults stopped talking for a moment. It was as though the forest itself had heard the old man's words. Far away, hidden behind the trees, a faint whisper echoed through the wind, almost like someone softly calling, "Come."
The villagers quickly looked away from the forest. No one spoke another word about the road that night, except one person. A young girl standing quietly at the edge of the crowd. Her name was Esther. Unlike everyone else, she wasn't afraid. She was curious. And deep inside her heart, she had a feeling that the road had been waiting for her. The next morning, the village of Umudara woke to the sound of roosters crowing and women sweeping their compounds. Everyone had forgotten about the strange whisper from the night before. Everyone, except Esther. She couldn't stop thinking about the old road. If everyone is so afraid of it, she thought, how does anyone know what is really there? As she fetched water from the stream, she noticed two elderly women talking in hushed voices. "They say the whisper was heard again last night," one woman said. "The road is calling someone," the other replied nervously. Esther stepped closer. "Who do you think it's calling?" she asked. The women froze. One of them quickly grabbed Esther's hand. "My child," she said softly, "some questions are dangerous." They hurried away without saying another word. That afternoon, Esther visited her grandmother, Mama Ngozi, who was weaving a basket outside their small mud house. "Grandmother," Esther began, "is Papa Obi telling the truth?" The old woman's hand stopped moving. "About what?" "The road." A shadow crossed Mama Ngozi's face. "Forget that road." "But why?" "Because some places are not meant for human feet." Esther sat beside her. "If nobody has ever reached the end, how do people know it's cursed?" Her grandmother sighed deeply. "Because I lost someone there." Esther looked up. "Who?" There was a long silence. Finally, the old woman whispered, "Your parents." Esther's heart skipped a beat. "My parents." Her grandmother nodded, tears filling her eyes. "They disappeared when you were only 3 years old. They believed the stories were hiding something. They promised they would return before sunset. They never came back." Amara felt as if the ground beneath her had disappeared. For years, she had believed her parents had died in an accident. No one had ever told her the truth. "Why did you keep this from me?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Because I didn't want the road to take you to." That night, Amara lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The village was silent. Then, tap, 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 she heard soft footsteps outside her window. Slowly, she stood and looked outside. No one was there, just the moonlight, and in the distance, beyond the trees, she saw it. A faint golden light glowing from the direction of the forbidden road. It wasn't lightning. It wasn't fire. It looked almost as if someone was carrying a lantern deep inside the forest. Amara whispered to herself, "Someone is there." And without realizing it, she had already made up her mind. She was going to find out the truth. The next morning, Esther couldn't eat. Her grandmother noticed. "You barely touched your food," Mama Ngozi said. "I'm just tired," Esther replied, forcing a smile. But inside, her mind was racing. She couldn't stop thinking about the mysterious light she had seen the night before. Was it really someone? Or was the road trying to lure another victim? For the rest of the day, Esther secretly prepared for a journey. She packed a small leather bag with a bottle of water, 2 pieces of roasted yam, a lantern, a box of matches, a rope, and the only thing she had left from her father, an old brass compass. The compass had never worked properly. Its needle spun in circles instead of pointing north. Her father used to joke that it had a mind of its own. Esther slipped it into her pocket. That evening, dark clouds gathered over Umudara. The village drums announced that everyone should stay indoors because a heavy storm was coming. Mama Ngozi locked a wooden door. "Don't even think about leaving tonight," she warned. Esther nodded. "I won't." But her heart whispered something different. At midnight, the rain stopped as suddenly as it had begun. The moon emerged from behind the clouds. The entire village fell into a deep sleep. Esther quietly rose from her mat. She picked up her bag. She looked at her grandmother one last time. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Then she slipped out through the back door. The night air was cold. The forest stood before her like a giant black wall. Every step toward it made her heart beat faster. Soon, she reached the entrance to the forbidden road. It looked older than she had imagined. Ancient stones peeked through the cracked earth. Thick vines twisted around broken wooden signposts that no longer had any words on them. The silence was overwhelming. No crickets. No owls. No wind. Nothing. Esther swallowed hard. For a brief moment, she thought about turning back. Then she remembered her parents. She took a deep breath and placed one foot onto the road. The instant her sandal touched the ground, a freezing wind burst through the forest. The trees began to sway wildly. The lantern in her hand flickered. Her father's compass suddenly stopped spinning. For the first time in years, its needle pointed straight ahead. Then, from deep within the darkness, a voice echoed. Soft, gentle, but clear enough for Esther to hear. Welcome, Esther. She froze. Her eyes widened. I never told anyone I was coming. The voice spoke again. We have been waiting for you. The lantern went out. Everything around her disappeared into darkness. Then, two glowing eyes slowly opened between the trees. Esther's heart pounded so loudly she could hear it in her ears. The two glowing eyes stared at her from the darkness. She wanted to run. Every part of her body screamed, "Go back." But her feet refused to move. The eyes slowly came closer. Her father had never mentioned anything like this. "What is happening?" she whispered. The wolf let out a soft howl and disappeared deeper into the forest. After a long moment of hesitation, Esther followed. The road became narrower. Ancient trees stretched high above her, their branches weaving together until they blocked the moonlight. The deeper they went, the colder the air became. Soon, she noticed something strange. On both sides of the road stood dozens of old stone statues. Men, women, children. Each one had a different expression: fear, surprise, sadness. They looked so lifelike that Esther felt uneasy. She reached out to touch one. The stone felt warm. Too warm. Just then, the wolf barked sharply. Esther pulled her hand back. The statue's eyes moved. She stumbled backward in terror. "They are alive." A faint voice echoed through the forest. They were travelers. They ignored the warnings. They chose greed over wisdom. And the road claimed them. Esther spun around. An old woman dressed in white robes stood beside a massive tree. Her silver hair flowed in the wind, but her feet never touched the ground. She floated silently above the ground. "Who are you?" Esther asked. The old woman smiled sadly. "I am the keeper of the road. I protect its greatest secret." Esther swallowed. "My parents." The keeper closed her eyes. "They came. They passed the first trial. But they never completed the second." Esther's voice shook. "Are they dead?" The keeper looked deep into her eyes. Then she answered with words Esther never expected. "No. They are waiting." A tear rolled down Esther's cheek. "They are alive." Before the keeper could answer, the ground beneath them began to shake violently. The wolf growled. The trees trembled. A deep, thunderous roar echoed through the forest. From the darkness ahead, something enormous was coming. Its footsteps made the earth quake beneath Esther's feet. The keeper's calm expression disappeared. For the first time, she looked afraid. "Run!" she shouted. "It's awake." The earth shook with every heavy footstep. Boom! 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 Birds burst from the treetops, filling the sky with frightened cries. "Esther!" Esther's heart raced as the keeper grabbed her arm. "Run!" she shouted. Without looking back, Esther sprinted through the forest. Branches whipped against her face, and roots tried to trip her with every step. The black wolf ran beside her, leading the way. Behind them, the roaring grew louder. It wasn't just a roar. It sounded like dozens of voices crying out at once. Suddenly, Esther glanced over her shoulder. Her blood ran cold. A gigantic creature stepped onto the road. It stood nearly 15 feet tall. Its body was covered in dark stone instead of skin, with glowing cracks of blue light running across its chest and arms. Long vines wrapped around its shoulders, and two curved horns rose from its head like the branches of an ancient tree. Its eyes burned like fire. Every step it took left deep cracks in the ground. Amara screamed and ran even faster. After several minutes, the wolf stopped beside a narrow cave hidden behind a waterfall. Inside, the keeper cried. Esther squeezed through the opening just as the enormous beast reached the waterfall. It let out a deafening roar that echoed through the cave. Dust fell from the ceiling. But the creature did not enter. Instead, it stood outside, watching. Waiting, its glowing eyes never left the cave entrance. After a few moments, it slowly turned around and disappeared back into the forest. The silence that followed felt even more frightening. Esther leaned against the cave wall, trying to catch her breath. "What was that?" she asked. The keeper sighed. "His name is Gorak. He is the guardian of the road. He has protected this place for hundreds of years." "Does he kill everyone who comes here?" Esther asked. The keeper shook her head. "No. He only hunts those whose hearts are filled with greed, hatred, or lies." Esther frowned. "But he chased me." The keeper smiled gently. "He wasn't trying to kill you. He was testing your courage." Esther looked confused. "Then why did you tell me to run?" The keeper's smile faded. "Because even guardians can lose control when something ancient begins to awaken." Before Esther could ask another question, the black wolf walked deeper into the cave. At the far end stood a massive stone door covered with strange symbols. In its center was a keyhole. The keeper looked at Esther. "Do you still have the wooden key you found at the broken bridge?" Esther reached into her bag. Her fingers touched the smooth wooden key. She slowly held it up. The symbols on the stone door suddenly began to glow. The cave trembled. A warm golden light shone from the key. The keeper whispered, "This door has remained locked for 50 years. Since the day your parents entered." Esther's eyes filled with tears. "My parents are behind this door." The keeper nodded slowly. "If you open it, there will be no turning back." Esther looked at the glowing key in her trembling hand. She took one slow step toward the ancient door and inserted the key into the lock. Click! A deep rumble echoed through the cave. The stone door began to open, and from the darkness inside came a familiar voice. Soft, weak, but unmistakable. "Esther." It was her mother. Esther froze. Her heart skipped a beat. She knew that voice. Even though she had not heard it since she was 3 years old, something deep inside her recognized it instantly. Mother," she whispered. Tears filled her eyes. The ancient stone door creaked open inch by inch, releasing a warm golden light that poured into the cave. Slowly, Esther stepped inside. The room beyond was unlike anything she had ever imagined. There were no cobwebs, no bones, no signs of death. Instead, a beautiful hidden valley stretched before her, glowing with crystal blue rivers, giant flowering trees, and birds with shimmering feathers. It looked like a forgotten paradise. In the middle of the valley stood a small wooden house. And outside the house, at that moment, another figure emerged from the house. A tall man with a gray beard and tired eyes. He stared at Esther in disbelief. "My little girl," he whispered. Esther turned. "Father." He rushed forward and wrapped both of them in his arms. For the first time in 14 years, their family was together again. After the tears had settled, they sat inside the small house. The keeper and the black wolf remained outside. Esther looked around. "Why didn't you come home?" she asked. "We searched for you for years." Her father lowered his head. "It wasn't because we didn't want to, it was because we couldn't." He pointed toward the glowing valley. "This place is called the Valley of Echoes. Time moves differently here." Esther frowned. What do you mean? Her mother took her hand. For us. It has only been 6 months since we arrived. Esther's eyes widened. 6 months. Her father nodded sadly. But in the outside world, 14 years have passed. Esther couldn't believe it. She had grown from a toddler into a young woman, while her parents had experienced only a few months. But why couldn't you leave? She asked. Her father's expression darkened. We tried. Many times. But every path led us back here. The road wouldn't let us go. Just then, the ground began to shake. The teacups rattled on the table. Outside, the black wolf let out a loud warning howl. The keeper burst through the door. Her face was filled with fear. It has begun, she cried. The seal is breaking. A loud crack echoed across the valley. In the distance, the towering mountain split open. A blinding red light burst into the sky. From inside the mountain came an ancient roar, far louder than the guardians. The keeper whispered, her voice trembling, the true master of the road has awakened. The crimson light lit up the entire valley. The beautiful flowers began to wither. The crystal-clear river turned dark. Even the birds fled into the sky in terror. Esther rushed outside with her parents. The mountain had split open from top to bottom. A thick cloud of black smoke poured into the sky, swirling like a giant storm. The keeper fell to her knees. It is happening exactly as the prophecy foretold, she whispered. Esther looked at her. What prophecy? The keeper took a deep breath. Long before your village existed, this road was not feared. It was a sacred path. People walked it to seek wisdom, not riches. But one day, a powerful chief became consumed by greed. He wanted the road's greatest treasure for himself. He gathered an army and forced his way into the sacred valley. The guardians tried to stop him. But the chief stole the heart crystal, the source of life that protected the valley. The moment he touched it, he was consumed by darkness. He became something no longer human. The guardians defeated him, but they could not destroy him. So they sealed him beneath the mountain. She looked toward the glowing crack. That seal is breaking. A deafening roar echoed across the valley. The ground split beneath their feet. From the mountain emerged a gigantic figure wrapped in black smoke. His body looked like cracked volcanic rock. His eyes glowed blood red. A tattered crown rested upon his head. In one hand, he carried a broken spear that crackled with dark energy. Every step he took caused trees to fall. The guardian, Gorak, stepped forward with a mighty roar. For the first time, the giant beast bowed his head. Not in fear, but in respect. The keeper whispered, even Gorak knows who he is. Esther swallowed hard. Who is that? The keeper answered softly. King Moza, the first ruler of this land, and the cause that created the forbidden road. King Moza's voice echoed across the valley like thunder. So, the child has finally arrived. His burning eyes locked onto Amara. I have waited many years for you. Esther. Stepped back. You know me. A cold smile spread across the king's face. You carry the blood of the first guardian. Only someone from your family can unlock the heart crystal. Only you can free me. Or destroy me forever. Esther looked at her parents in confusion. Her father lowered his eyes. There is something we never told you. Before he could continue, King Moza raised his spear. A wave of dark energy shot across the valley. Gorak leaped into the air to block it. The explosion shook the earth. Dust filled the sky. When the smoke cleared, Gorak had fallen. The mighty guardian struggled to stand. The keeper gasped. No. He has never been defeated. King Moza laughed. The sound echoed through every corner of the valley. Then he pointed his spear at Esther. "Come to me willingly, or watch everyone you love disappear." Esther looked at her injured parents, at the wounded guardian, at the frightened keeper, then she slowly stepped forward. "I'll go." Her mother screamed, "No, Esther." But it was too late. King Moza smiled. His trap had worked. "Esther, don't," her father shouted as he struggled to his feet. Her mother grabbed her arm, tears streaming down her face. "If you go to him, you'll never come back." Esther gently held her mother's hands. "I've spent my whole life without you. I'm not going to lose you again." She turned toward King Moza. "If giving myself up will save my family, then I'll do it." The keeper stepped in front of her. "No. The prophecy never said you must surrender. It said you must choose." Esther frowned. "Choose what?" Before the keeper could answer, King Moza struck the ground with his spear. A wall of black fire rose between Esther and her family. "Enough," he roared. "The time for secrets is over." The flames trapped her parents and the keeper on one side. Esther stood alone on the other. King Moza slowly stretched out his hand. "Come." His voice was strangely calm. "I do not want your life. I want your decision." Confused, Esther stepped closer. The air around the ancient king grew colder with every step. "You've heard only one side of the story," he said. "They call me a monster. They tell you I was greedy. But no one remembers why I took the heart crystal." He waved his hand. The air shimmered like water. Images appeared before Esther. She saw a kingdom suffering from a terrible drought. Children cried from hunger. Crops had withered. People were dying. Then she saw King Moza, years younger, kneeling before the glowing heart crystal. "I beg the guardians to let me borrow its power," his voice echoed. They refused. They chose to protect the valley while my people starved. So, I took it. The vision changed. The crystal cracked. Darkness burst from within it. Moza screamed as black shadows consumed his body. The vision disappeared. A tear rolled down the king's stone-like face. "I was not born a monster. I became one because I made a desperate choice." Esther stood in silence. She didn't know what to believe anymore. Behind the wall of black fire, the keeper shouted, "Don't let him deceive you. He speaks the truth, but not the whole truth." The heart crystal was never meant to leave the valley. When he forced it away, its light became darkness. King Moza closed his eyes. "I know. I have lived with that mistake for 1,000 years." He looked at Esther. "I don't seek revenge anymore. I seek freedom. Either destroy me, or forgive me." The entire valley fell silent. Even the wind stopped blowing. Everything depended on Esther's choice. She looked at the wounded guardian. She looked at her parents. Then she looked into the eyes of the cursed king. For the first time, she didn't see a monster. She saw a man carrying 1,000 years of regret. Esther slowly reached into her pocket. She pulled out her father's glowing compass. As soon as she held it high, it opened by itself. Inside the lid, words she had never seen before appeared in bright golden letters. "Only a heart that chooses mercy over revenge can break the oldest curse." A warm light burst from the compass, spreading across the valley. King Moza looked up in disbelief. "The guardian's compass," he whispered. "It still exists." The golden light surrounded Esther. She closed her eyes. "I know what I must do." Just as she took her first step toward the heart crystal, the ground beneath it cracked open. A shadow far darker than King Moza began to rise from below. The keeper's face turned pale. Oh no! It wasn't Moza. The real evil has been imprisoned beneath the crystal all along the valley. The ground split apart beneath the heart crystal. Dark smoke poured from the opening like a living creature, swallowing the golden light. The air became so cold that frost spread across the grass. Esther stepped back. "What is that?" The keeper's voice trembled. "It has no true name. The first guardians simply called it the darkness beneath. It existed long before this valley. Long before King Moza. It feeds on fear, anger, greed, and hatred. It was imprisoned beneath the heart crystal thousands of years ago." King Moza lowered his head in shame. "When I stole the crystal, I weakened its prison. I thought I had cursed only myself. I never knew I was setting it free. It was never the road that was cursed. It was the fear carried by those who walked it." Amara finally understood. The road had never been evil. It simply revealed what was hidden inside every heart. The darkness spread across the valley like a storm. "I have waited thousands of years. Now the world beyond this road will belong to me." It rushed toward the ancient gate leading back to Umudara. "If it escapes," the keeper whispered, "every village will fall." King Moza stepped forward, gripping his broken spear. "I caused this. I will end it." "No," Esther cried. "You're too weak." The cursed king smiled for the first time. "Strength isn't what defeats darkness. Courage is." He turned to Gorak. "My old friend. One last battle." The guardian slowly rose. Though wounded, he stood beside the king. The two former enemies faced the darkness together. King Moza looked back at Esther. "The heart crystal has chosen you. Whatever happens, protect its light." With a mighty battle cry, King Moza and Gorak charged toward the towering shadow. The valley exploded with blinding light and roaring darkness. Esther shielded her eyes. When she looked again, the battle had begun. And the fate of both worlds now rested in her hands. The valley trembled as light and darkness collided. King Moza swung his broken spear with all his strength. Gorak lunged at the towering shadow, his mighty roar shaking the mountains. But the darkness only laughed. "You cannot defeat what lives inside every fearful heart." With one sweep of its shadowy arm, Gorak was thrown across the valley. He crashed into a cliff and lay still. "Gorak!" Esther cried. King Moza attacked again, but the darkness wrapped around him like chains. The cursed king struggled, yet the more he fought with anger, the stronger the darkness became. "I told you," it hissed. "I feed on fear and hatred." Moza closed his eyes. He stopped struggling. Then he looked at Esther. His voice was calm. "Don't fight it with anger. Fight it with hope." Those were his final words. The darkness tightened around him. A brilliant flash of light filled the valley. When the light faded, King Moza was gone. Only his broken crown remained on the ground. Esther fell to her knees. No. Tears streamed down her face. She had wanted to save everyone. Instead, she had watched another life disappear. The darkness laughed louder than ever. "Now there is no one left to stop me." It surged toward the ancient gate leading to Umudara. The villagers on the other side could already hear the thunder. Children cried. Parents held their families close. The sky over the village turned black. The keeper looked at Esther. "The heart crystal is waiting." Esther looked toward the glowing crystal. It was glowing dim. She remembered the words inside the compass, "Only a heart that chooses mercy over revenge can break the oldest curse." She wiped away her tears. Slowly, she walked toward the heart crystal. The darkness rushed at her. "You're too late." Esther wasn't afraid anymore. She placed both hands on the crystal. Closing her eyes, she whispered, "I forgive you, King Moza. I forgive everyone who made mistakes. And I refuse to let fear decide our future." The heart crystal burst into a dazzling golden light. The light spread through the valley like the rising sun. It reached the stone statues along the road. One by one, they came back to life. Men, women, children. Travelers lost for generations opened their eyes in amazement. The light reached Gorak. The mighty guardian stood once more, stronger than ever. Finally, the light surrounded the darkness. It screamed. Not in pain, but in defeat. I cannot survive. Where hope is stronger than fear. With one final cry, the shadow shattered into thousands of tiny sparks that floated into the sky and vanished forever. Silence returned. The black clouds disappeared. Flowers bloomed again. The rivers became crystal clear. The forbidden road was no longer covered in darkness. For the first time in 1,000 years, it was simply a road. Esther turned and saw her parents smiling through tears. The keeper bowed her head. The curse is broken. The road is free. Gorak walked to Esther and gently lowered his head. She smiled and placed her hand on his forehead. Thank you, my friend. As the first rays of sunrise touched the valley, a new path opened, leading safely back to Umudara. This time, the road welcomed them home. Behind them were dozens of people the village had believed were gone forever. For a moment, no one spoke. Then an elderly woman screamed with joy. My husband! She ran through the crowd and threw her arms around the old man who had disappeared 30 years earlier. Across the village, families reunited. A mother found her daughter. Two brothers embraced after decades apart. Children met parents they had only known through stories. Laughter mixed with tears until the whole village echoed with celebration. That evening, Umudara held the biggest feast in its history. Drums echoed through the night. People danced around a great bonfire. There were songs of gratitude, stories of courage, and prayers of thanksgiving. Papa Obi raised his walking stick and smiled. For generations, we feared this road. But today, we learned that the greatest prison was not the road. It was our fear. The villagers cheered. As the celebration continued, Esther looked toward the forest one last time. In the distance, she thought she saw the silhouette of Gorak standing among the trees. He looked at her for a brief moment, then quietly disappeared into the forest. Esther smiled. Some heroes don't stay for the celebration. They simply make sure everyone gets home. Fear can imprison us, but courage, mercy, and hope have the power to set us free. Sometimes the road everyone avoids is the one that leads to truth. The end.